One of the things about Zeppelin is I feel like, Bonham, Page, Plant, they get the recognition they deserve, but I feel like John Paul Jones often gets really skipped over. In your view, what was the importance of John Paul Jones in the band, in your opinion?
Well, you have to remember Jimmy had been one of the top session guitarists before, even before the Yardbirds. John Paul Jones was one of the top keyboardists and arrangers, writing charts, bringing in orchestras, doing string parts for people like Donovan and lots of other people. So he was already known as a musician's musician, a top guy on the British music scene. So getting him into the band to add that incredible musicality, really, many rock bands, if they needed a bass player or a keyboard player, which he was both extraordinaire, they would just try out a few guys. Oh, this guy plays good, get him in there, he'll play the keyboards. That wasn't John Paul Jones. He could do anything musically. So I think he, as you said, of course Bonham is bombastic and you always hear him banging away. So you think, wow, great drums. Jimmy's the lead guitarist, so you hear him wailing away. And then Robert, of course, is the lead singer. They're all out front, like you say, but kind of like an umbrella over the whole thing musically, not necessarily the production, but musically of capability was John Paul. I mean, he's just like an incredible shield. It's hard to describe it.
Yeah, no, I
He
know
was
what you're
just
saying.
emanating
Yeah.
musicality, and anything that was needed, he could do it in any number of instruments. So to have him, let's say Kashmir, what would that be without his parts?
Hmm.
Good Lord, wouldn't have, and the organ on Since I've Been Loving You, it's just brilliant. If anybody could have outplayed Booker T or Keith Emerson at that point, it was John Paul Jones. I mean, but he didn't stick to that. He played bass too. And if you may have heard some of his isolated bass tracks, people have these files on out, which I don't like to hear, but they're out on the internet now. His bass playing is immaculate. It's brilliant. It's like he's like Jamerson almost in some ways, where the bass drives the song. On several of the songs, the bass drives the song. If you listen to Motown music, almost any Motown song with Jamerson on it, which is almost all of them, most of them, a good many of them anyway. Bob Babbitt too, sorry. But if you listen to a Motown song, a Four Top song or something, where the bass is driving it, and just concentrate on the bass, it will amaze you, absolutely amaze you at the melody that bass plays, at the way that it takes the song from one section to another. It's just something that a great bass player could do, and there aren't that many of them that could do that. But John Paul Jones could do that and did it. It's a form of brilliance that's so rare, and that's why I like to say ad nauseum, perhaps, four greatest people in the world at what they did, all in one room, all playing in one band together. Astounding.
If you had to, I mean, this might be a hard question, but if you had to pick one song that was very John Paul Jones heavy and say this is the best one, which would you pick?
Oh, that's not fair. That's very tough.
It is what it
It's
is.
like, well, you've got four kids. Which one do you love the most?
Oh.
So, and sometimes you could make that answer, but certainly which one you love the least, you might. But uh, I I don't know. Geez,
Yeah, that's cool.
all of his where he does the string parts, whether it's mellotron or whether it's synthesizer or just whatever. But how about this? Might sound crazy in a way, but how about the electric piano on rock and roll? My
Oh, that's
God!
cool. Okay, that's
I mean,
cool.
most people wouldn't pick that maybe, but if you just again isolate and think of what the piano is doing on rock and roll, it's like Little Richard on steroids, but in this brilliant professorial way.
Yeah, no, I
So
totally know
many
what you're
things that
saying.
are,
So, what do you think of No Quarter?
listen to the rhythmic parts of the things he plays on that. It's just amazing. no band has ever rhythmically done what they've done. There are all sorts of things where people do odd time signatures. We're going to do this in 7/4 or whatever. That's not what they're doing. They're in a many times in a standard key signature and doing so many syncopated things off of it that it's just amazing. The things Bonham could do relative to John Paul Jones, just insane. Anyway, I'll just go on forever.